Have you ever wondered, what is holding me back in my business? I know something is holding me back, but I just don't know what it is. Well, today we're talking about the top 5 fears that might be holding you and your income and your success hostage in your business. We're going to be talking about why it's important to understand your fears. We're going to dig those fears up, which of the 5 fears you might have, and what they all relate down to, the subconscious root of all of them, and how to break free of them once and for all. Make sure to stick around till the end. Hey, guys. So I am so excited to talk to you today about the top 5 fears that might be holding you and your business and your income and your wealth back. Now, these are the top 5 fears that I have seen throughout my 20 years as a psychologist and a coach, helping thousands of entrepreneurs rewire to new levels of wealth and abundance and success in their businesses and in their lives so that they can feel as though they can create more money from this place of delight and joy and passion. Now, today we're talking about the top 5 fears that might be holding you back, because when we identify these fears, when we understand what these fears are, guess what happens? We can pluck them out of the subconscious mind and we can do something about them. The first and most important thing that you can ever do in order to break through to your next level of wealth, income, success, all of this stuff, is to become aware of the things that have stopped you from doing it before now. So, why the heck is it important to address your fears in the first place? Why are we even talking about this today? Well, the reason that we're talking about it is because when we feel afraid, when we have these fears, even if these fears are outside of our awareness, outside of our conscious minds, they are influencing us on a deep level that will make us hold ourselves back from what it is that we desire most. Now, why does this happen? This happens because when you have fear, you feel stress. You feel stressed out about the thing that you're afraid of. That stress is in your physical body, is in your nervous system. It is giving your brain feedback, the subconscious brain outside of your awareness, that this thing that you are thinking about isn't safe. Even if that thing is more wealth, abundance, success, all of the things you truly feel like you want, if it feels like you're kind of afraid of it too, if it feels like it's stressful, guess what? That subconscious mind's going to go, no, thank you. I don't want to go there. We want to stay safe, comfortable, and alive. I know it might not seem like, your fears are going to kill you, but your subconscious mind sure the heck doesn't know that. So, this is why it's so important to address our fears, bring them into the conscious mind where we can do something about them, because then our subconscious mind no longer sabotages us and holds us back from what it is that we desire most. So, in the next 5 fears, I want you to take some time and really identify which one of these is a sticking point for you. Fear number 1. Fear number 1 is your fear of success. I know. You're like, Dr. Ash, what the heck? Why would I be afraid of success? Success is what I actually really freaking want. Well, guess what? Most people are afraid of success on some level or another until they address it, until they really look at it, until they look at the identity shifts, the being shifts, the habitual shifts, the behavioral shifts, the leadership shifts that need to happen in order to embrace success, right? So people worry that if they achieve success, that they're going to end up having to pay some cost in order to have it. Now, this might be costs such as feeling as though you're going to have to hustle and work hard and sacrifice and spend all your time, just working in order to make your business a success. It might be things like you're going to worry that you're going to lose time with your partner or your kids or your time freedom. You might feel as though you're going to lose your health, that your health is going to take a backburner, that you're going to go into burnout because you're going to be so tired working all the time. All of these things end up going on in the back of your mind, particularly if you've had experiences watching other people be successful and making sacrifices in order to become successful and more wealthy. And they will motivate you to not want to be successful, particularly if you highly value those things like your health, your partner, your kids, your free time, your freedom. you will end up holding yourself back. Another thing that can really happen when it comes to the fear of success is people get really stuck with fearing what other people might think if they become successful, if they become wealthy, if they become a big YouTube star, or whatever it might be. They feel really overwhelmed by the thought of people won't like me, people will attack me, people will think I'm too big for my britches, people will try to take me down. And so then they feel as though they need to shrink in order to protect themselves and keep themselves safe. Again, it all comes back to this feeling of safety and delight in what we're creating rather than fear, rather than overwhelm, rather than anxiety. The other thing that can really come up is this feeling of not being able to or not being equipped to be the empowered, your CEO in your business, in your life. What does that mean? You start to get afraid of what's going to be expected of me when I step up into my highest level of success, into my highest timeline, into the highest self that I could possibly be. What people going to expect from me? Am I going to have to be perfect all the time? Oh my gosh, am I going to have to fire people? Am I going to have to set boundaries? Am I going to be in charge? Are all the decisions going to rest on my shoulders? What if I make the wrong decision? All of these things. Fear of taking risks, fear that it might work out. All of these things are part and parcel of becoming an empowered CEO, is being able to take risks, being able to make those risky decisions, being able to set boundaries, being able to trust your frickin' self. But when it comes to one of these top 5 fears, if we have fears that we can't trust ourselves, that we don't know how to be the boss or the leader, guess what? We're going to fear becoming too successful. You might also have money fears involved with becoming too successful. I'm afraid of taxes. I'm afraid of accounting. I'm afraid I won't be able to work my numbers. All of that stuff is untrue. It's stuff you can learn. So it's time to understand that this fear may be part of the problem of why you're feeling stuck. Fear number 2. Fear number 2 is the seemingly opposite, but not quite opposite, fear of failure. Fear of failure holds so many people back from even getting started. They want to make sure that everything they do is going to be a success before they even jump in, before they even take the frickin' leap. Guess what, my peeps? You can't guarantee squat. One of my favorite phrases is, and if you've got littles, plug their ears, if you're waiting for certainty, you're fine. Because certainty is never guaranteed. You can never sit around and wait for certainty. What you can do is you can experiment. What you can do is you can play. What you can do is you can pivot and twist, bend like a reed in the wind. You can do all of these things, which create flexibility, resiliency, and basically, you become armored against failure. Because the only time you ever frickin' fail is when you do not get back up again. And when you say, if I don't succeed the first time, or if I don't succeed at doing this, I'm a failure, guess what you've just said? You've just told yourself, I'm not getting back up. I'm not going to persist. If it doesn't work out the first time, I quit. Damn, so as if I'm going home. That's not going to work out for you. You have to commit. You have to decide. You have to believe. You have to have confidence that this is your path and you can do this. And then failure's not even an option. Failure doesn't even happen because persistence moves you through failure to your inevitable success. Because this is what I believe. Fear of success and fear of failure are 2 sides of the same frickin' coin. The reason being is you have to risk failure in order to be successful. You have to be able to take risks in order to be successful and create more wealth. You have to be willing to make big, bold decisions in order to do the things that you really want to do in your life. So if you are not willing to fail, then you are not willing to succeed. Calling you out, maybe. Is that a big one for you? Let me know. I'd love to hear about it. I see it in so many of my clients, fear of failure. I don't want to get started. I want to make sure it's perfect. I want to make sure everybody loves it before I ever even put it out there. Nobody's ever going to love everything you ever do. Just go out there and play. Now, fear number 3. Fear number 3 is fear of the unknown. No, not ghosts, but the unknown being uncertainty about the future. Feeling as though you don't know what's going to happen. feeling as though you don't have, particularly if you're starting a business and you're first-time entrepreneur, that consistent income, that consistent paycheck, that thing I can rely upon, that thing I can fall back on. That feeling of the fear of the unknown goes back to what I was just saying in fear number 2, that if you're waiting for certainty, you're fucked. Because certainty never happens. Certainty never comes. Everything being known never comes. Let me ask you something. If you are at a 9-to-5 job, for example, and you're not yet an entrepreneur, do you know that your boss isn't going to come in and fire you tomorrow? No, you don't. You don't. Do you know that the whole company isn't going to go, feet up in the air and disappear tomorrow? No, you don't. But you just believe that it's going to be there tomorrow and it's going to work out and everything's going to be fine because you're putting your belief in another person. Why don't you instead put your belief in frickin' you? Why don't you instead believe that you have the tools, you have the ability to figure out everything in front of you? That the unknowns are just things that you haven't, puzzles that you haven't solved yet. They are just things that you haven't experienced yet. They are just things that you can walk through and figure out yourself. This is why self-trust and that empowered CEO mindset is so important, because when we walk into that, that's when we know I can do anything, including figure out the unknowns. And no, not ghosts. Right? So again, this one boils down to knowing that you can figure everything out, trusting yourself, believing yourself, and being committed to your path. That even if I don't know the answer, I can figure it out, or I can consult somebody, or I can find a mentor to help me figure it out. Another thing to consider is the need for certainty, and to not have unknowns can often be a trauma response. That's because sometimes when you're growing up and you have traumatic experiences, it can feel really chaotic and really scary when you don't know what's going on and you can't anticipate, particularly if there was like a parent who had like moods, or a narcissistic parent, or an alcoholic parent, or a parent with mental health issues or whatever. And you end up feeling like, if I don't know exactly what's going on, I've got to control what's going on to be able to anticipate. Otherwise, I'm not safe. Again, there's that word safety. That can really become a motivator for this fear. Now, fear number 4, fear of not maintaining your income or losing it entirely. Losing the whole shebang. What if I create this business? What if I create this consistent income? What if I'm making $1 million a year and then suddenly I don't have anything because I squander it, or I make a bad investment, or all the clients disappear, or I don't know, suddenly nobody is using phones that are on the wall and I'm a phone on the wall person. What do we call those? Home phones? I don't even remember what we call those anymore. So this fear is related to financial stability and the potential for losing our income. Again, it's related to fear number 3, this fear of uncertainty, this fear of the unknown. This is that need for stability, that need to know where everything is coming from. What we can do here is really kind of anchor into this regulated nervous system that tells us that we're safe, even if we don't know where our next sale is coming from, even if we're having an inconsistent income month, even if we're not sure what moves to make yet. And again, this relates also to fear number 3 that we just talked about, in fears of the unknown. So a lot of people feel as though it's only the lucky few who can make entrepreneurship work for them. It's only a few people who can actually create a consistent income as an entrepreneur. It's only a lucky few who can build wealth. It's only a lucky few who can have time freedom or location freedom, etc. That's complete bull. That's complete BS. That's a story that you're telling yourself based upon the fear that says, this is not for me, this is for the select few, and I won't be able to maintain it even if I fricking get it. Well, that fear is usually because either you haven't been exposed to somebody who's done it, and you haven't had a model that can show you how it can feel easy, fun, pleasurable, and delightful, ha ha ha, right? Yay. Or you feel as though you have to be someone else and you have to be more in order to have what you want. Those things need to be shattered. Those beliefs that you have to be more, that you have to be anything other than who you are, the genius, the diamond inside of you, are complete BS, and it's time to let them go. Once you do that, you will feel free to be able to make the decisions, the bold decisions, the incredible decisions in your business that light your business on fire, that create your income, that create your wealth, all of the things that you desire. So when you fear about making a lot of money and losing it, that can be related to money blocks. I talk in some of my other videos about money blocks, about the top money blocks, about how to break through money blocks. And I definitely encourage you to check those out to get more guidance about the money blocks that might be holding you back. Things like, I can't trust that good things are here for me, so I need to get rid of money as fast as I earn it because it's just going to abandon me anyway. I know it sounds like a weird money block, but that can happen. Anyway, now we're on to fear number 5. Fear number 5 is fears related to past trauma. Something I talk a lot about on my channel, on my podcast, in everything that I do, in my work with my clients is trauma. You might be like, Dr. Ash, what the heck does trauma have to do with business and success and income and wealth? Let me tell you something. We have all experienced trauma to one degree or another. And a lot of it isn't related to success and wealth, but it all influences our ability to generate more money, to generate more cash, to be more successful, to be our highest self, to be lit up and alive and feel as though we deserve a life and business that's pleasurable and fun and delightful and all of that jazz. The reason this is that even little traumas like being bullied in the schoolyard for not having the right brands, or big traumas like losing a parent to cancer or something like that, make us feel as though we might be attacked, people might not like us, oh gosh, I better please other people. Make us feel as though good things abandon me, oh my gosh, like I can't trust that people will be there for me, I can't just sit back and receive, I always have to work and be there for other people. Guess what? Everything's going to be hard, everything's going to be a hustle. This is an example of how these past traumas can influence our ability to generate more income, our ability to build wealth, our ability to be more successful. We end up fearing being attacked. We end up fearing people not liking us. We end up fearing conflict. We end up fearing becoming a bad person or greedy or ruthless if we become more wealthy or more successful because maybe we saw a parent do that or an uncle or a neighbor or whoever. We fear not being smart enough or know enough because some damn teacher told you that when you were 5. You fear not being worthy of success because someone told you or you took on the belief that you weren't worthy of every divine dream and desire in your heart. You fear sticking your neck out and somebody cutting you down, or you fear the negative voices in your head that you've adopted from those traumatic experiences growing up. These are all things that end up motivating a fear that I can't be successful. I can't be wealthy. I can't have more money because maybe I'm just not meant for it, or maybe I'm not worthy of it, or maybe I'm not deserving of it, or maybe I just don't know enough, or whatever fill in the freaking blank reason you might put behind it. This is why addressing these past traumas is so important. So at their core, all of these issues relate back to self-worth, feelings of deservingness, feeling as though you're good enough right the frick now to have everything you want, confidence, that deep down cellular confidence that just radiates authenticity and joy and connection and beautiful energy to other people, and that 100% rock solid belief that you're meant for this and that you've got what it takes. And when you move through all of these fears that we've talked about today, or even your number one fear, if you were able to identify one of those, you're able to, release so much of this crap that's gotten in the way of your true genius and in what you're here to experience in the world, the impact you're meant to create, the freedom you're meant to have, and all of those beautiful, delicious experiences that are on the other side of your fear.